Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Windward Buddhist Temple's July Remembrance Service. My name is Neil Yamamoto, and I will be your MC. It is my honor to be your MC this morning. We'll begin with the ringing of the temple bell, or Kansho, that signifies the beginning of temple service. It is a deep and sacred ritual, steeped in ancient tradition. It is the calling of the people to come together to listen to the Dharma or teachings. The temple bell represents the gratitude and deep appreciation of the members, friends, and guests of the Windward Buddhist Temple. Please sit quietly in your seat. If you are able, please rise for the meditation, followed by the chanting of the Vandana Ti-Sarana by the congregation in Pali and English in the red Jodo Shinshu Service book on page 7.
Sangham Saranam Gatha.
Please be seated. Reverend Soul will now recite Sanbujo, which is found on page 9 in the red Jodo Shinshu Service book.
Of Buddhahood and Nirvana. As we chant the sacred words of the Buddha, let us meditate on the virtues of our those who have preceded us to the Pure Land of peace and tranquility, and gratefully receive the last Dharma lesson on impermanence. May we fully awaken to the infinite compassion and wisdom of our beloved spiritual parent, Amida Buddha. Namo Kiei Butsu, I take refuge in the Buddha. Namo Kiei Ho, I take refuge in the Dharma. Namo Kiei So, I take refuge in the Sangha. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
We will now have the remembrance of those individuals who passed away in the month of July of any year. Reverend Kalu will hit the gong several times to start. Then the names of the deceased will be announced. Please go forward to offer incense. Then Reverend Kalu will hit the gong again for the next name. After the last name is called and incense offered, he will hit the gong several times and go directly into the Sutra Juseige in the Jodo Shinshu Service book on page 55. Paul Matsuda. Markeen Love Kane. Toshio Miyamoto. Harry and Harriet Psyche. Kazuo Sumikawa. Amy Miyamoto, Masanobu Arakaki, and Evelyn Arakaki.
세이프 조쇼각 야오물 요우코 흐이다이 세슈 의사이 쇼빙그 세이프 조쇼각 가시조붓노 묘쇼 초지포 극혐이쇼몸 세이프 조쇼각 리욕진 쇼냄 조에 시봉요 시금의 조도 이쇼테닌시 진리기엔다이고 흐쇼무사이도 쇼조상금요 고사이슈야그남 가이치에겐 메시코모암 헤이소그쇼 아그도 쯔단센슈몸 고소조만소 이요로지포 니치간 슈주기 땡코 옴프겐 이슈가이호조 고세극도그호 조오다이슈주 세포시시그 그여이사이분 그석슈 어그홈 간내시든조만 어그위상가요 녀버든무게지 쯔단미흐쇼 강가그에리 도시사이쇼섬 시가냐고가 나이세노 간도 고그쇼테님 올진묘에 요도 세이사이 노헛 보다이시 오조 아라
If you are able, please stand for the recitation of the Creed in the Jodo Shinshu Service book on page 4. Namo Amida Butsu. Entrust yourself to me. I will liberate you just as you are. This is the calling voice of Amida. My blind passions are embraced in the Buddha's reawakening. So the Buddha calls to me. I will liberate you just as you are. Gratefully responding to the Buddha's call, I find that I'm already on the path that leads to the Pure Land. And the Nembutsu flows freely from my thankful heart. It is due to the guidance of Shinran Shonin and successive spiritual leaders who have transmitted the teachings to us today. Living with the Dharma as my guide softens my rigid heart and mind. Gratitude for the gift of life I have received frees me from becoming lost in greed and anger, and allows me to share a warm smile and speak gentle words. Sharing the joy and sadness of others, I shall live each day to the fullest.
Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu.
Please continue to stand for the Gatha, Lord Buddha Speaks to Me, in the Praises of the Buddha book on page 137.
Buddha speaks to me.
Thank you. Please be seated. It is my honor to introduce our speaker for today, our Reverend Saul Kalu.
No, I'm not going to do it. See, I remember now. Let's put our palms together in Kansho. If when I attain Buddhahood, sentient beings in the lands of the 10 quarters who sincerely and joyfully entrust themselves to me, desire to be born in my land and call my name even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. Excluded, however, are those who commit the 5 gravest offenses and abuse the right Dharma. The 18th vow of Amida Buddha, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning, welcome again to another fine Sunday here at Windward Buddhist Temple. And I want to thank you all for coming to spend time to be with friends, fellow Buddhists, and members of this temple, and of course, the main reason, to listen to the Dharma or the teachings. As this is my last Sunday service of my career as a Jodo Shinshu minister, I would like to talk about the most important, indeed, the core of the teachings of Shin Buddhism, and that is the primal vow of Amida Buddha. But first of all, I'd like to ask, why is our tradition called the Hongwanji? Some of you know that, some of you don't, yeah? The meaning of Hongwanji in plain English is Temple of the Primal Vow. The vow being the 18th and most important vow of Amida Buddha. The primal vow, specifically the 18th vow, is central to Pure Land Buddhism and is considered Amitabha Buddha's promise to liberate all sentient beings who sincerely recite his name. It emphasizes that through faith and recitation of Namo Amida Butsu, or in Japanese meaning homage to Amitabha Buddha, anyone can be reborn in Amitabha's Pure Land, a realm of ultimate bliss and a stepping stone to enlightenment. The term comes from the Sanskrit purva pranidhana, which means past vow or previous vow. This term originally referred to any bodhisattva vows made by any bodhisattva in the past life. So that is the meaning of Hongwanji. Hon, the first character, means primal. Yeah, it could mean book too in Japanese. The next one is gan, which is vow. And the last one is ji, means temple. So Hongwanji. This vow promises salvation to all sentient beings suffering in the world of delusion. Yet, if you notice or paid attention to the opening remarks I made, there is an exclusion clause at the end of the vow, which implies that there are conditions where one is excluded or rejected in the salvation process. The process of selection and exclusion or rejection is very much part and parcel of our lives and very natural in us human beings. We do it when we go to the supermarket, for example, and try to buy fresh fruits and vegetables. We sort them carefully, picking only those that are appealing in color and without bruises or other unsightly marks. We want the best of everything. In the field of education, people tend to select the best schools, university or colleges, but the schools, universities, or colleges in turn are themselves very selective in who gets admitted based on certain criteria. How does it feel to be rejected? It's not pleasant, to say the least.
Whether it be in school or rejected by another person that one likes, the suffering of rejection falls under one of the 8 types of suffering, or dukkha, that Sakyamuni Buddha taught. This is called the suffering caused by denial of one's desires. In Japanese, it's called Aibetsu Riku. Ai meaning like, Betsu meaning separate, and Riku is suffering. Yeah? Interestingly enough, selection and rejection features prominently in other religious traditions, and this is usually refers to the process of salvation. People are judged at the end of their lives according to their moral conduct and adherence to the faith while they were still alive. The good ones are admitted to heaven, and the bad ones cast out to hellish realms of intense suffering as their punishment. The term usually used is separating the chaff from the wheat, or separating the goats from the sheep. You know? This process of harvesting, separating people's souls as good or bad according to past moral behavior, is one of the basic tenets of some of the world's great religions. But what about Buddhism? In Buddhism, there is no such thing as divine judgment and retribution, because Amida and all the other Buddhas do not function as judge, jury, and executioner. No one, no matter how evil the person, is ever rejected for birth in the Pure Land. In fact, the power of the primal vow works harder for those who desire a sincere change of heart, but unable to do any kind of good deed. Amida Buddha accepts all who are sincere in desiring for birth in the Pure Land, just as the historical Buddha Shakyamuni did not reject anyone who wanted to become his disciple. The Pure Land is open for anyone who wants to be born there. The only requirement is the awakening of the entrusting mind, or Shinjin, which Shinran Shonin identified as the decisive cause for birth in the Pure Land. Now this brings us to the perplexing problem of the exclusion clause in the primal vow, which I have quoted at the beginning of this Dharma message. And let me quote it again, the whole 18th vow, for reference. If, when I attain Buddhahood, sentient beings in the lands of the 10 quarters who sincerely and joyfully entrust themselves to me, desire to be born in my land and call my name even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain perfect enlightenment. Excluded, however, are those who commit the 5 gravest offenses and abuse the right Dharma. End quote. Now, if no one is rejected entry into the Pure Land, why is there mention of exclusion in the primal vow of the Buddha? For clarification purposes, let's define what those exclusions are. First, the 5 gravest offenses. What are the 5 gravest offenses? Number 1, killing one's father. Number 2, killing one's mother. Number 3, killing of an arahat. An arahat is a person working towards enlightenment. 4, creating disharmony in the Sangha. 5, causing the blood to flow from a Buddha. What does abuse of the right Dharma mean? Shinran Shonin used the word slander, quote unquote, rather than abuse the right Dharma, and he defined that slander as saying there is no Buddha. So if you say there's no Buddha, you are committing the abuse of the right Dharma. Saying that there's no Buddha Dharma, no teaching, no Bodhisattva Dharma. That is the abuse of Dharma, or the slander, rather, in Shinran Shonin's way of thinking. Well, this makes me think whether those Jodo Shinshu scholars who say that Amida Buddha and the Pure Land are nothing more than metaphors for something else, are they committing slander of the Dharma, I wonder, according to Shinran's thinking? Deciding on such views, whether through understanding thus in one's own mind or receiving the ideas from others, is called slandering the right Dharma. Slandering the right Dharma, by the way, is a greater offense than the 5 grave offenses mentioned first. So it supersedes those first 5 ones. By the wording of the exclusion clause, this means that people who commit these offenses cannot be saved and be born in the Pure Land. Well, isn't that a contradiction of sort? In order to gain a clearer understanding of this seeming contradiction, we need to look at the whole picture of what Amida Buddha is all about. Amida Buddha's wisdom and compassion is described as boundless, unconditional, penetrating, and all-encompassing. His intention was ever and always to make a way for people who had no way. It just doesn't make any sense to think that somehow the Buddha's infinite compassion could be limited to those who haven't done the worst and most terrible karmic deeds. So Shinran Shonin explained it this way. This exclusion clause is a form of expedient mean. It's called hoben in Japanese. It's not a lie, but it's a means of, transmitting ideas. It is a skillful means used by the Buddha to point to us the severity of these offenses, and by showing the gravity of these 2 kinds of wrongdoings, these words make us realize that all sentient beings throughout the 10 quarters, without a single exception, will be born in the Pure Land. The Chinese Pure Land master Shantao, one of Shinran's 7 masters, explains it further, and he says, the intent may be understood as a teaching to make us desist from evil. As stated in the 48 vows, those who slander the Dharma and those who commit the 5 grave offenses are excluded. This means that these 2 kinds of actions are the gravest of hindrances. The Buddha, fearing that we would commit these 2 kinds of faults, seeks to stop us through compassionate means by declaring that we will then not be able to attain birth. But that is not the real intent why the Buddha said that. Yeah? This does not mean that we will not be grasped. The ultimate goal of Buddhism is the liberation of all sentient beings, without exception. And so to think of the exclusion clause as other than an expedient, skillful means to make us desist from committing evil means to tell us to refrain from doing those evil actions. Does not make any sense. So it's an expedient means, a skillful means. Hoben. Let's cite a few examples of these grave offenses that are mentioned in the exclusion clause in our modern day era. First, killing of one's father and mother. Whether by accident or intentional, these things still happen today in many parts of the world. A few years ago, if some of you remember, there was a gunman who massacred 19 school children and 2 teachers in a town called Uvalde in Texas. I think that was 2 years ago. First, he shot his grandmother in the head before he went on his killing rampage. Although it was the grandmother, the life of one of his parents came from that woman. So, by extension, he committed the first grave offense, killing of the mother. And even though the grandmother did not die during the shooting, the shooter still, quote unquote, killed his grandmother. How did that happen? Well, in Buddhism, the mere thought of killing someone without even actually physically carrying out the act itself is already killing someone in one's mind. For the mind always supersedes any action. So even if you think, I want to kill that person, you already killed that person, according to the teachings of Buddhism. The most important thing to consider here is intention. Deliberate, premeditated evil action is what generates negative karmic consequences. Every day we kill, not person necessarily, but living things. Every time we step out, we step in, or we drive through, yeah? But that does not generate negative karmic consequences because there is no intention. We don't really mean to do that, but we cannot help it, yeah? So we have to understand that it's had to be deliberate for it to generate negative karmic consequences. Question: will that shooter who killed so many innocent children and teachers still be saved by Amida Buddha? What do you think? Given the grave evil nature of his deed, we could be excused if we're tempted to say, no, he will not be saved. He will go to hell. He doesn't deserve to be in the Pure Land. But in the eyes of the Buddha, he will definitely be saved. Viewed through the eyes of enlightenment, to the Buddha, there is no such thing as evil, quote-unquote, or good, quote-unquote, person. There is only unwholesome action. It is the deed that is evil, the result of karmic causes and conditions that came about. However, we ordinary unenlightened beings would like to say, hope, and sometimes pray that that shooter will suffer eternal punishment in some hellish realms. That kind of thinking is part of our being unenlightened. Maybe a desire for revenge for someone who broke the law in a most gruesome way. You know, it's like how we feel when we watch a movie. We want the bad guy defeated or killed by the good guy. The workings of human laws already satisfied our desire for that in our real-life case in Texas. The shooter was killed by law enforcement officers later on. His actions were in no way acceptable nor to be tolerated, but the Buddha's boundless compassion is boundless. So he will be saved spiritually, regardless of his past transgression, but he will spend eons in a suffering realm as a result of his unwholesome deeds until his evil karma is consumed or used up. Second, killing of an arahat, a person striving for enlightenment, that's self-explanatory. Third, creating disharmony in the Sangha means splitting the Sangha through schism, promoting wrong views that lead to confusion among the members of the Sangha, leading them to on the wrong path instead. Number 5, exclusion offense is interesting. Causing the blood to flow from a Buddha. I honestly don't think that this can happen in these times if the definition of a Buddha is of one that is of the same level as the historical Buddha Shakyamuni. To say that there are Buddhas that can shed real human blood is tantamount to claiming that there are living Buddhas in human form in this world today. But I beg to disagree. Although there are certain religious groups out there that claim their spiritual gurus are living Buddhas, and they call it Iki Botoke in Japanese, that is dangerous thinking to me. That is fertile ground for mind control and manipulation with possible disastrous consequences like the cult Aum Shinrikyo, who initiated a gas attack in Tokyo many years ago. According to traditional Buddhist teaching, there is only one Buddha after Shakyamuni, and that is Maitreya, or Miroku Bosatsu, who will not appear in this world for many more eons in the future. But by being saved and born in the Pure Land of Amida Buddha, we attain complete Buddhahood, not in the same way as the historical Buddha, but through the easier path of the power of the 18th vow. And so, unlike students screened and selected for entry to the Ivy League universities, In Buddhism, we aren't excluded or discarded because of our imperfections or faults. Rather, the Buddha's infinite compassion through the 18th or primal vow is always working in our favor. And imperfect and foolish though we all are, once we are grasped, we will never be abandoned, never discarded, never excluded from the realm of peace and tranquility that is the Pure Land. Therefore, one can never say that he is too evil to be saved, and that his past karmic actions be a permanent hindrance to his attainment of Buddhahood. The Buddha is telling us to come as we are and be saved. What we are at the moment, foolish, unenlightened, is not our real ultimate nature. That's not our true self. That's only our true human self. If being unenlightened and foolish is our true, quote-unquote, self, then we're hopeless. True means true. It cannot be changed anymore. Otherwise, if it is not true, how can we be saved? How is salvation possible? By being foolish and unenlightened is not our true unchanging nature. Buddhahood is, really. The Buddha's infinite light of wisdom removes the darkness of our minds in ignorance and illuminates our true self, which is that of being Buddhas or potential Buddhas in the future. And as the Pure Land is the realm of the Buddhas, the world of enlightened beings, how can any one of us with Buddha nature be excluded from entering it? The Pure Land is our rightful home because that is where we properly belong. And that is where the Buddha wants all sentient beings to ultimately be, not in the world of delusion and suffering. Finally, I want to conclude this message with a warm and sincere mahalo to all of you members of the Windward Buddhist Temple for your support for a full year in this, my final assignment as a Shinshu minister. This is truly what is called in Japanese, ichigo ichie. I don't know if you heard that term before. An unrepeatable moment that cannot be repeated. There is time for saying hello and also a time for saying goodbye. No regrets here. We are all subject to the laws of impermanence and nothing lasts forever. Please practice the Dharma in your daily lives, for it is not something just for the books, but a part of our being. And also I'd like to express a special thanks to Reverend Bert, who has been my mentor through all these years. I've known Reverend Bert even before we became ministers. One of the sweetest guys I've known. And he did a lot for this temple. So I give him a round of applause, and I bow to him. He's a true teacher. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Reverend Saul. If you are able, please stand for the Gatha, Quest of Life, in the Praises of the Buddha book on page 164, and continue to stand for the Nembutsu in the same book on page 145.
conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this in the wisdom, one turns away from suffering. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Namo.
Thank you. Please be seated. This concludes today's service, and now it is time for announcements with not Dennis Tashiro, because he's not here, with Cynthia Rodriguez.
This is getting to be a habit. So, Dennis couldn't be here today, so I'll be doing the announcements. Thank you, Reverend Soul and Reverend Bert, for leading the service. Neil for MC. Alan, greeter. Jennifer, Kansho. Lisa, the piano. And Ryan for doing the recording. We have a few guests this morning, and if you could please rise when I mention your names. Let's see, Alisa, MJ, and Jerome. Yay. Welcome, thank you. Okay, today's service was our final service for the summer. There will be no Sunday services during August, and our services will resume on Sunday, September 7th. Reminder, we will be visiting the Aiea Hongwanji on Sunday, August 10th, and today is the last day to sign up. So please sign up on the sheet in the back. And I think Neil has a reminder regarding the Kiwanis spelling bee.
Hi, everybody. So for those of you who don't know, the Kiwanis Club of Kaneohe meets here, and throughout the state of Hawaii, we are hosting a Kiwanis Kupuna spelling bee. It's run on the same way that Scripps Howard does their national spelling bee. We have preliminaries and a final. Preliminary for Kaneohe and Windward side is on the 23rd of August. I think that's the right date. August 23rd, 1 to 4 at Windward Community College. If you are interested, you must be over age 60 and above. So, sorry, you don't have to compete against me. But age 60 and above, and the top 2 finishers will be advanced to our state final. Our state final is in September, and that will be at Kuakini Medical Systems in Liliha. And lot of awesome prizes. So for our senior friends who are 60 and above, some great prizes are available. Trip to Vegas, Hawaiian miles, 4 nights at the California Hotel, some Alaska Airlines things. And I think there is going to be a cash prize involved too. Don't quote me on that, but definitely something to think about. This is the 4th annual one, Kiwanis Kupuna Spelling Bee, and you'll probably hear about it in the midweek, so everybody gets midweek. Take a look. It's going to be a lot of fun. We look forward to seeing you, and kupunaspellingbee.com is the website to register. There is a fee for registration at $35, but look forward to seeing some of you there. Thank you.
Okay, today is the last service for Reverend Soul before his retirement on July 31st, and he's crying already. Oh, poor thing. Okay, here's a message from Dennis, okay? Quote, Reverend Soul, please enjoy your retirement, and I wish you the best of health. Thank you very, very much for your service to WBT during the last 12 months. To everyone in attendance today and who will be watching on YouTube. I wish you all the best for an enjoyable, relaxing, and fun August. I am anxious to get back together in September when we restart our Sunday services and we reaffirm our dedication to the Buddha, Dharma, and of course the Sangha, the WBT Sangha. Thank you. End quote. And I too would like to thank Reverend Soul for all that he has done for our temple. Best wishes in your retirement, and please know that you will always remain in our hearts and be part of our Sangha. So thank you. We have a little something, so if Reverend Soul could stand in the middle, right in front of the altar. It's to wish you a happy and restful retirement. Now, if there's anyone else who would like to come up to say a few words, please do so right now, before the cake melts. Okay, we're going to do, thank you, Reverend Soul. We're going to do words of thanks. I'm sorry?
I said thank you.
We're going to do the words of thanksgiving, but right after we do that, we're going to take a group photo in front of the altar. So don't leave the room, okay? So we'll do words of thanksgiving. And this can be found on page 126 of your red service book or on the screen, okay? We are grateful. We are truly grateful. Namo Amitabha. Itadakimasu.